A little bit of tuning going on now. Just one moment, please. Oh, yeah, that really needs it. Daryl, could you tune by ear? Were you ever good at tuning by ear?
Yes.
I am not. I have to have a display.
I'm tuning by ear now.
I need something to look at and see. Okay, yeah, that's in tune now. And
Back
this
in the good old days,
car,
they
because
didn't
of
have
cold
such a
weather,
thing.
is considerably out of tune. So while I'm doing this, Daryl, do you have a prayer already queued up? Not that you have to say right now, but
Do I have a prayer queued up? Let's see.
I mean, I know you have the long obligatory prayer memorized.
Right.
Does that sound too?
Just a little bit.
You sure?
Yep.
How's that sound?
Sounds good.
I think
So,
we're finally ready.
good morning, friends. Welcome to another Sunday morning of devotions and prayers. Thank you for joining us. We're going to start this morning with a prayer. And this one is by Abdul Baha. O God, my God, this is thy radiant servant, thy spiritual thrall, who hath drawn nigh unto thee and approached thy presence. He hath turned his face unto thine, acknowledging thy oneness, confessing thy singleness, and he hath called out in thy name among the nations, and led the people to the streaming waters of thy mercy. O thou most generous Lord, to those who he asked, he hath given to drink from the cup of guidance that brimmeth over with thy wine of thy measureless grace. O Lord, assist him under all conditions. Cause him to learn thy well guarded mysteries, and to shower down upon him thy hidden pearls. Make of him a banner rippling from the castle's summits in the winds of thy heavenly aid. Make of him a wellspring of crystal waters. O my forgiving Lord, light up the hearts with the rays of a lamp that sheddeth abroad its beams, disclosing to those among thy people whom thou hast bounteously favored in the realities of all things. Verily, thou art the mighty, the powerful, the protector, the strong, the beneficent. Verily, thou art the Lord of all mercies. Abdul Baha.
Thank you, Daryl.
You're welcome.
I still feel like I want to play a little something. That's just a short version of the Good Morning song, a shortened version, a very much abbreviated version, an abridged version, if you will. We won't use a drum. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, my friends. God's blessings upon you. Let's praise the Lord together, my friends. We have all awakened in God's shelter. Now we've come to praise His name together. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Good morning,
morning. Good
my
morning,
friend.
my friend.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning,
my friend.
my friend.
Hey
Good
guys, do you have the
morning,
drum machine
everyone. Good
operating?
morning, everyone, in our Zoom feed here. Hello, Andy, and hello, Terry, and hello, Utah, and hello, Gilbert. And we see Jeremiah there in the clouds. He's actually here helping us out with sound as usual. And hello, everyone out there in our Facebook feed. I was getting ready to say something different. Facebook feed, and we actually have some people here in the room. Good morning, Nevada, and good morning, Mike, and good morning, Suzanne. We're so
Good
glad you
morning.
came
Good
here
morning.
to actually join us here in person, in the flesh. And well, Daryl, you already said a prayer, so I guess we can go ahead and get started with our reading.
Sure
You think?
can.
Okay, yeah. I hope everyone's warm. I mean, it is nice and warm in here. It's not supposed to get real warm. Well, you know what? The fact that I'm bringing up how cold it is outside, which it isn't terribly cold, it's just
Yes, it
Florida
is.
cold.
Yes, it is.
It's Florida cold. I mean, when I think about how further north those people are really freezing and, snow is piled up and so forth, I feel like we've got it pretty darn good down here. Not to brag, but it is Florida cold out there. So, yeah, and we also need to take a moment and just think about and make sure that we remember to send up prayers, obviously, for what's going on out in California. Um, One thing that I'm thinking on two levels here. Okay, yes, this is a terrible, 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 I'd dare say unprecedented disaster there. I mean, we're used to hurricanes here in Florida. We're used to hurricane forced winds in Florida that do great damage. Take those same winds and add it to a wildfire, and that's what you've got in California, and it's very, very sad. And we hope that they finally get that in control soon. Uh, but I was also thinking about the fact that this is a disaster for the United States. There are world disasters that are going on that we also
True.
need to be aware of and pray for those people as well. Okay. But as you know, when last we met, and we're actually reading the book, and the book that we are reading is still Baha'u'llah and the New Era by J.E. Esselmont. And I got to tell you, we're getting very close to the end. We've got like 50 some pages left of content to read, um, and it goes fast. But what we are now into is I don't remember the chapter number, but it's the
It's
chapter
14, I
Prophecies
believe.
Fulfilled in the Baha'i Movement. Um,
It's
yeah,
chapter 14.
chapter 14. And because it's been, some say 2, but an emotional 3 weeks, an actual 2 weeks, but an emotional 3 weeks. Um, I think it's good if we do just a quick little review. Remember that this chapter is about the prophecies of Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha being fulfilled. And I just like to read some sentences that I think put together kind of summarize what we've covered so far in this chapter. So I'm going to do that now. Baha'u'llah bade the rulers likewise to act as trustees of those under their control. To act as trustees. He's talking to the rulers of the world. Act as trustees to those under their control, making political authority a means to true general welfare. To move on, he commanded limitation of extremes of wealth and poverty. I'll say that he commanded limitation of the extremes of wealth and poverty. He commanded the abolition of both chattel and economic slavery. Baha'u'llah declared the equality of men and women expressed through equal responsibilities and equal rights and privileges. He declared the fundamental oneness of religion. He commanded universal education. Baha'u'llah commanded the adoption of a universal auxiliary language. Baha'u'llah imbued humanity with a new spirit, arousing new longings in minds and hearts and new ideals for society. Yet, to the faithful Baha'i, these and countless other evidences, impressive as they are, fail to give the real measure of the spiritual majesty of Baha'u'llah. His life on earth and the irresistible force of his inspired words stand as the only true criterion of the will of God. So, yes, all of these other things that have occurred over time and are occurring, even in our day, continuing to progress, are really things that were prophesied by Baha'u'llah. Okay. And there were times that he spoke, much of this was in, he also spoke to rulers around the world. And we're going to get into some of those now, starting with his prophecy to Napoleon III. And I got to tell you, folks, it ain't good.
Yeah, he didn't just speak to them; he wrote them letters.
Yes, he wrote them letters. I'm glad you corrected me on that. These were in letters, and
So,
that's why we know that these things occurred. They've been preserved and so forth. So, Daryl, please.
so among the world leaders that he wrote to, one of the first was Napoleon III. In the year 1869, Baha'u'llah wrote to Napoleon III, rebuking him for his lust of war and for the contempt with which he had treated a former letter from Baha'u'llah. So Baha'u'llah had written him before this. The epistle contains the following stern warning: For what thou hast done, thy kingdom shall be thrown into confusion, and thine empire shall pass from thine hands as a punishment for that which thou hast wrought. Then wilt thou know how thou hast plainly erred. Commotion shall seize all the people in that land, unless thou arisest to help this cause, and followest him who is the Spirit of God, Jesus Christ, and followest him who is the Spirit of God, Jesus Christ, in this the straight path. Hath thy pomp made thee proud? By my life, it shall not endure, nay, it shall soon pass away, unless thou holdest fast by this firm cord. We see abasement hastening after thee, whilst thou art of the heedless. Needless to say, Napoleon, who was then at the zenith of his power, paid no heed to this warning. In the following year, he went to war with Prussia, firmly convinced that his troops could easily gain Berlin. But the tragedy foretold by Baha'u'llah overwhelmed him. He was defeated at Saarbrück and Weissenberg, at Metz, and finally in the crushing catastrophe at Sedan. He was then carried prisoner to Prussia and came to a miserable end in England 2 years later. Baha'u'llah goes on to speak to Germany. Baha'u'llah later gave an equally solemn warning to the conquerors of Napoleon, which also fell on deaf ears and received a terrible fulfillment. In the book of Aktas, which was begun in Adrianople and finished in the early years of Baha'u'llah's imprisonment in Akka, he addressed the Emperor of Germany as follows: O King of Berlin, do thou remember the one whose power transcended thy power, Napoleon III, and whose station excelled thy station. Where is he? Where is he? Whither are gone the things he possessed? take warning, and be not of them that are fast asleep. He it was who cast the tablet of God behind him, when he made known unto him what the host of tyranny had caused us to suffer. Wherefore, disgrace assailed him from all sides. Wherefore, grace assailed him from all sides. And he went down to dust in great
Oh,
loss.
no, no. You were right the first time. Disgrace.
That's what I said, disgrace.
But then you correct yourself and say grace.
No.
Am I just. I thought he changed it to grace.
No, I said disgrace.
Well, anyway,
Think,
moving on.
let me carry on, please. Think deeply, O king, concerning him and concerning them who, like unto thee, have conquered cities and ruled over men. The all merciful brought them down from their palaces to their graves. Be warned, be of them who reflect.
Hmm.
O banks of the Rhine, we have seen you covered with gore, inasmuch as the swords of retribution were drawn against you, and you shall have another turn. We hear the lamentations of Berlin, though she be today in conspicuous glory. That's from the Kitabi Akdas.
Hmm.
During the period of German successes in the War of 1914 to 1918, and especially during the Great German Offensive in the spring of 1918, this well known prophecy was extensively quoted in the opponents of the Baha'i faith, excuse me, by the opponents of the Baha'i faith in Persia in order to discredit Baha'u'llah. But when the forward sweep of the victorious Germans was suddenly transformed into crushing, overwhelming disaster, the efforts of these enemies of the Baha'i cause recoiled on themselves,
Hmm.
and the notoriety which they had given the prophecy became a powerful means of enhancing the reputation of Baha'u'llah.
Yes. So that's two. You got
Yep, that's
Napoleon the Third,
that's Napoleon the Third.
and you've got the leader of Germany at that time.
Yes.
Okay, so certainly that's all there is, right? He just the two.
No, he goes on to Persia.
But wait, there's more.
In the book of Akdas, written when the tyrannical Nasiruddin Shah
Mhm.
was at the height of his power, Baha'u'llah blesses the city of Tehran, which is the capital of Persia and his own birthplace, and says of it, "Let nothing grieve thee, O land of Tehran, for God hath chosen thee to be the source of joy of all mankind, source of the joy of all mankind. He shall, if it be his will, bless the throne with one who will rule with justice, who will gather together the flock of God, which the wolves have scattered. Such a ruler will, with joy and gladness, turn his face towards the extend, turn his face toward and extend his favors." I lost my spot. "Turn his face toward and extend his favors unto the people of Baha. He indeed is accounted in the sight of God as a jewel among men. Upon him rests forever the glory of God and the glory of all that dwell in the kingdom of his revelation. Rejoice with great joy, for God hath made thee the dayspring of his light, inasmuch as within thee was born the manifestation of his glory. Be thou glad for this name that hath been conferred upon thee, a name through which the day star of grace hath shed its splendor, through which doth both earth and heaven, have been illumined. Ere long will the state of affairs within thee be changed, and the reins of power fall into the hands of the people. Verily, thy Lord is the all knowing. His authority embraceth all things. Rest thou assured in the gracious favor of thy Lord. The eye of his loving kindness shall everlastingly be directed towards thee. The day is approaching when thy agitation will have been transmuted into peace and quiet calm. Thus it hath been decreed in the wondrous book, Gleanings from the writings of Baha'u'llah. So far, Persia has only begun to emerge from the period of confusion foretold by Baha'u'llah, but already constitutional government has been started, and signs are not lacking that a brighter era is at hand.
Hmm. And we move on.
Why don't you take over here,
You
sir,
want
if
me
you
to
don't
take?
mind, please?
Okay. So we've had prophecies, read about prophecies handed down to various rulers from Napoleon to the King of Berlin in Germany to the tyrannical Nasiruddin Shah of Persia, and now we move to Turkey. We move to Turkey to the Sultan of Turkey and his Prime Minister Ali Pasha. Baha'u'llah, then confined in a Turkish prison, this was in 1868, Baha'u'llah addressed some of his most solemn grave warnings, again to the Sultan of Turkey and his prime minister. To the Sultan, he wrote from the barracks at Akka, O thou who hast imagined thyself to be the most exalted of men, thou too shalt find thyself in grievous loss. Even if this life giver and world reformer be in thine estimation guilty of sedition and strife, what crime could have been committed by a group of women, children, and suckling mothers that they should be thus afflicted with the scourge of thine anger and wrath? You have plundered and unjustly despoiled a group of people who have never rebelled in your domains, nor disobeyed your government, but rather kept to themselves and engaged day and night in the remembrance of God. A handful of clay is greater in the sight of God than all your dominion and sovereignty, and all your might and your fortune. Should it be his wish, he would scatter you in dust. Soon will he seize you in his wrathful anger. Sedition will be stirred up in your midst, and your dominions will be disrupted. Then will ye wail and lament, and will find none to help or succor you. Be expectant, however, for the wrath of God is ready to overtake you. Ere long will ye behold that which hath been sent down from the pen of my command. And to Ali Pasha, he wrote, I don't know, this is a long section. You want to do a song or continue and finish this section?
Um,
I just keep
yeah,
reading.
let's go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah,
Okay. And to Ali Pasha, he wrote, Thou hast, O chief, committed that which hath caused Muhammad, the apostle of God, to lament in the most sublime paradise. I want to take a moment and just mention earlier while you were reading, Baha'u'llah referred to Jesus Christ, the Spirit of
right.
Christ. And now he's referring to Muhammad,
Muhammad,
the
yes.
apostle of God. And I just like to point out that this is, again, an indication to number one, of progressive revelation, and also an indication of the fact that those who follow Baha'u'llah believe that all of these prophets are manifestations of God,
Right.
and that they all have validity, and that no, Baha'u'llah is not instead of. I think I said this a few weeks ago. Not instead of Jesus or instead of Muhammad. It is because of the fact that they all came from the same origin, and that origin is God. And they all are part of the same faith. But anyway, I digress.
Okay, so now that you've interrupted that section, I think we should go on to a song
Okay.
and finish this
I didn't
afterwards.
talk that long now. I was last night. I was talking to Nini, and sometimes Nini asks me to play things at home.
Nini, for those of you who don't know, is his wife.
Yes, they probably know by now if they tuned in now. But she asked me. She says, "What's that song that you all do sometime?" And I named some songs, and she said, "No, no, 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 no." And then she gave me a little more information, and I said, "Is it a lawapa?" And she said, "Yeah, that's the one." And we ended up singing. I guess we had a little impromptu devotion last night because we ended up singing Alawapa. And so this is a song that's very well known in Baha'i circles, often sung in Baha'i circles. And so we're going to do this today. It's very simple. Alawapa simply means uh, I
Glory.
want to say the glory of God, but it's not the glory of God. It's God is all glorious. Okay, God is all glory is most glorious. I kind of equate it to the Christian hallelujah. Okay, and we're going to do this, but we're going to do three different verses. I'll tell you what to say. Okay, this is probably done better with an acoustic, but I ain't got one. Allah upon Allah upon Allah upon Allah upon. Give God the praise. Give God the praise. Give God the praise. Give God the praise. For he is good. 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 Allow a pa. 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 King. Allow a pa. Allow a pa. Allow a pa. Allow a Allow upon, allow upon, allow upon, allow upon. I gotta say, I really enjoyed that. We have people here in the room with us, as you know, and to actually hear everyone singing, that was so sweet. Let's do it again. No, that felt so good. It really, really did. Thank you all. Thank you so much. And for those of you who might not be familiar with that song, if you don't know it by now, you just weren't listening. Okay. You want me to continue, or you want
Yes,
to?
please.
Okay. And so to continue, and to Ali Pasha, he wrote, and to anyone who needs needs a reminder, his Ali Pasha is the
That's
prime minister to the
Turkey.
Sultan of Turkey. Okay. So thou hast, O chief, to Ali Pasha, he wrote, thou hast, O chief, committed that which hath caused Muhammad, the apostle of God, to lament in the most sublime paradise. The world hath made thee proud, so much so that thou hast turned away from the face through whose brightness the concourse on high hath been illumined. Soon thou shalt find thyself in manifest loss. Thou didst conspire with the Persian ambassador to harm me, though I had come unto you from the source of majesty and grandeur with a revelation that hath solaced the eyes of the favored ones of God. Hast thou imagined thyself capable of extinguishing the fire which God hath kindled in the heart of creation? Nay, by him who is the eternal truth, couldst thou but know it. Rather on account of what thy hands have wrought, I'll read that again, rather on account of what thy hands have wrought, it blazed higher and burned more fiercely. Ere long will it encompass the earth and all that dwell within. Now, in all that beautiful language, Baha'u'llah is saying, do you really think you could put out the fire of this faith? Do you really think you could? And he says, no. By him who is the eternal truth, because if you only knew it, I'm of course paraphrasing, rather on account of what you've done, it blazed higher and burned more fiercely. Ere long will it encompass the earth and all that dwell therein. The day is approaching when the land of mystery, in parentheses we have that's Adrianople. The day is approaching when the land of mystery, Adrianople, and what is beside it shall be changed and shall pass out of the hands of the king, and commotions shall appear, and the voice of lamentation shall be raised, and the evidences of mischief shall be revealed on all sides, and confusion shall spread by reason of that which hath befallen these captives at the hands of the hosts of oppression. The course of things shall be altered, and conditions shall wax so grievous that the very sands on the desolate hills will moan, and the trees on the mountain will weep, and blood will flow out of all things. Then wilt thou know, then wilt thou behold the people in sore distress. Thus hath the true one come, and the command of him who is the ordainer, the all wise, been fulfilled. The hosts of earth and heaven are powerless to resist his cause, nor can all the kings and rulers of the world ever frustrate his purpose. Say, adversity, oh my goodness, say, adversity is the oil which feedeth the flame of this lamp, and by which is light is increased. Did ye but know? Indeed, the repudiation of the froward serveth but to proclaim this faith and to spread the cause of God and his revelation throughout the world. And again in the book of Akdas, what we call the Kitabi Akdas, it means book of Akdas, he wrote, O spot, in parentheses or in brackets, Constantinople, O spot, Constantinople, that are situate on the shores of the two seas. The throne of tyranny hath verily been established upon thee, and the flame of hatred hath been kindled within thy bosom, in such wise that the concourse on high and they who circle around the exalted throne have wailed and lamented. We behold in thee the foolish. I'm sorry. Ah, this is hard to continue because I feel like I'm reading it today, but referring to today. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
absolutely.
We behold in thee the foolish ruling over the wise, and darkness vaunting itself against the light. Thou art indeed filled with manifest pride. Hath thine outward splendor made thee vainglorious? By him who is the Lord of mankind, it shall soon perish, and thy daughters, and thy widows, and all the kindreds that dwell within thee shall lament. Thus informeth thee the all knowing, the all wise. The successive calamities which have befallen this once great empire since the publication of these warnings have furnished an eloquent commentary on their prophetic significance. And I think that is, I see you closing your book. I think that's a perfect place to
To
close it
stop.
now,
Yeah.
folks. Let me give you a little spoiler alert. Next week, we're going to be reading prophecies for America. Prophecies for America. So, for those of you that are here in the States or that have an interest of what has or will happen in the States that Baha'u'llah prophesied, you can read it in the book if you already have it, or you can come back next week. Hopefully, you will,
Of course.
even if you read it. And so, with that being said, we've reached that point where, yes, we like to allow anyone that would like to share a prayer or a song of your choosing. This is that time, and as always, we always like to start with our Andy Murphy moment, and we see that Andy is here with us in the Zoom. So, Andy, do you have something to share with us today? You're muted, Andy. You probably know, but I'm not.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Just barely. Uh, we hear you, but
Uh,
I, I'm going to just turn up the pull up the slider on the effects. The MP3 might help.
Try now, Andy.
all right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, a little better.
A
Might
little
push it
better.
all the way
All
down.
right.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
O Son of Spirit, with the joyful tidings of light, I hail thee, rejoice, to the court of holiness. I summon thee, abide there, that thou mayest live in peace forevermore. O Son of Being, make mention of thee in my earth, that in my heaven I may remember thee. Thus shall mine eyes and thine be solaced. Son of man, wert thou to speed through the immensity of space and traverse the expanse of heaven, yet thou wouldst find no rest save in submission to our command, and humble us before our face.
Thank you, Andy. I could hear that. I think since I've got my hearing aids on, I could hear it. But it was beautiful. I wish we could have you. I know it's fine, probably on your end, but here it was audible, but not as loud as I would have liked it to be. But it was beautiful. It really was. For those of you, I don't know, could you all hear that out here? Could hear it?
Good.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
great.
That was beautiful, Andy. It really was. Um,
Thank
yes,
you.
it really was. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
Here, I'll go ahead and share a prayer.
Okay, we've got Terry here, and then we'll come over here. Okay.
Praise be to thee, O Lord my God. I implore thee by thy name that hath caused to surge within every drop the oceans of loving kindness and mercy, and to shine within every atom the luminaries of thy bountiful blessings and favors. I implore thee to adorn every soul with the ornament of thy love, that none may remain on thine earth who hath not turned towards thee, or hath failed to detach himself from all except thyself. Thou hast verily, O my God, suffered him who is the manifestation of thine own self to be afflicted with all manner of adversity, in order that thy servants may ascend into the pinnacle of thy gracious favor, and attain unto that which thou hast, through thy providence and tender mercies, ordained for them in the tablets of thine irrevocable decree. The glory of thy might beareth me witness, were they at every moment of their lives to offer up themselves as a sacrifice on thy path, they would still have done but little in comparison with the manifold bestowals vouchsafed unto them by thee. Grant, therefore, I beseech thee, that their hearts may be inclined towards thee, and that their faces may be turned in the direction of thy good pleasure. Powerful art thou to do what thou wouldst. No God observeth thee, the inaccessible, thou gloriously ever forgiving. Deign then to accept, O my God, from thy servant the things which he hath shown forth in his love for thee. Fortify him, then, that he may cling to thy most exalted word, and to unloose his tongue to celebrate thy crimes, and cause him to be gathered unto such of thy people as are nigh unto thee. Thou art he who thou art he within whose grasp is an empire of all things. There is no God but thee, the Almighty, the Hope and Pearl, the All Glorious, the Infinite Strength. And that's from Prayers and Meditations, 97.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. We have someone out here in our audience that would like to offer up a prayer. So I'm going to go down here with the microphone because I know that you all will not be able to hear her unless we do that. So one moment, please.
I have wakened in thy shelter, O my God, and it becometh him that seeketh that shelter to abide within the sanctuary of thy protection and the stronghold of thy defense. Illumine my inner being, O my Lord, with the splendors of the day spring of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being with the morning light of thy favor.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Anyone?
Okay. Well, while we're waiting for Tony to reconnect his mic, to which he's done already. See, that was
Yes.
quick.
I just want to say, well, go ahead, finish your statement.
No, I was just
You
saying
didn't
that
have a
was.
statement to finish?
I didn't have a statement to
You
finish.
didn't have a finish. I just want to say it's really good to be back.
It is good to be back.
Yes. And I will say it's a little different from the things I was saying earlier before we started. I'll admit the intricacies of putting this together you would not believe, and it's sometimes it gets very frustrating. I'll say that. I will say, I used to say this a lot, but I'll say it again. Anyone, this has to go out to primarily the local people that would like to come and help assist with this program on Sunday mornings. You are more than welcome. Really, you are more than welcome.
Absolutely.
Yes. So yeah, this isn't meant to be the Tony Ballard and Daryl King devotion. It's just a devotion, and anyone who would like to take part in it or help, make it happen, you are very, very welcome. And again, we haven't said that in a long time, but I want to make that very clear that you are welcome. Yeah, and in fact, it's important in relation to that, as we always like to point out, that this isn't just a
The two
two-person
of us.
effort.
No, it's not.
Yeah, this is a community
Collaborative
effort. Yeah, a
effort.
collaborative effort. I like the way you said that. Collaborative effort. Yeah. Yes, Suzanne. Yeah, we'll be sure to do that.
We just had a suggestion to invite people to come
Yes,
here
we're
to
here
join
at
us
the.
here.
Yes,
That would be
absolutely. You
yes.
can come to the Clearwater Baha'i Center on Gulf to Bay Boulevard in Clearwater, Florida. We start at 10
10
o'clock,
a.m.
10
right.
a.m. And we start at 10 a.m. I'll just leave it at that.
And just so you know, today we have the biggest audience that we've ever had.
Yes. Since we came back to the center, at least, yes, we have the biggest audience. It's the largest audience we've had since we came back to the center. That is correct.
And
So
it's not huge audience, but it's an audience nonetheless.
yes, so
We appreciate that.
if you have a Sunday morning regimen, even if it's not something like an official regimen, but just those habits that you do on Sunday morning, it might be that you'd like to come, but it doesn't register because you get up, you get a cup of coffee, maybe turn on a little TV or whatever, maybe do a little devotion at home. But please, we'd love it if you'd come and join us right here. When we were doing that song, Aloha Pa, I got to
Yeah.
tell you, it felt so good. You know, it's always us singing here,
Right.
but it felt so good to actually be hearing people in this room. And I'm not sure, but I would bet that the people in the Zoom and maybe some of you on Facebook, whether you're in real time or even if you stream this later, if you know that song, I would bet that you were probably singing along. Even if it was just in your head, I'd bet you were singing along. Imagine doing that with other songs right here in this space. That would be absolutely wonderful. Yeah. And we always like to point out, in addition to the fact that this is a collaborative effort, we always like to point out that anyone who would like to know more about the Baha'i faith or where you can get materials regarding the faith, there are some definitive, reliable websites, valid websites, credible websites that you can go to. And some of them are, Terrell, if you do the honors.
www.baha'i.org, www.baha'i.us, www.bahaiteachings.org. And if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay area and would like more information, you can always tap into the Clearwater Baha'i website at www.clearwaterbaha'is.org.
Yes.
So,
And I got to tell you, Daryl, I don't want you to change a word you say.
you do?
I don't. I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't. But I always get a little, you always say, and if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay area, you don't have to be in the Tampa Bay area to go to the website.
Well, thank you for pointing that out, Tony.
It's just the thing we say.
Actually, you can get to that website from anywhere on the planet.
So if you happen to be in
if you happen to be in the
Timbuktu,
world,
yes,
you can always.
that's right.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Well,
right. From anywhere.
That's
Yes.
right, because the beginning of it is www. It
That's
says
right.
this is
Yes.
the World Wide Web.
But
so-
yeah, but again, yes.
So-
But all jokes aside, sorry, guitar. You know, there are an awful lot of great materials on that website. They do other programming that they post, and it's always there for consumption, and it's very educational. And hopefully, very, no, I won't say hopefully, but I mean this on a personal level to whoever is watching that uses those materials. Hopefully, it's also not just educational, but very spirit lifting because they have some wonderful programs up there. They post this, Clearwater Baha'is post this on their website along with others. So, one thing I must say, you know, Baha'u'llah, one of the precepts of the faith is the importance of universal education.
Right.
The importance of being educated. It's one thing to be led by the heart and by the spirit. Of course, that's important. But I think we have plenty of examples of people who failed to truly educate themselves in general and also spiritually, and were misled by people who had, you know, some less than noble purposes, you know, using our inclination towards spiritual guidance to mislead the masses. And so it is very, very important that we educate ourselves in spiritual matters and especially as they relate to practical living. And so a lot of the programming on the Clearwater website is it's certainly a tool that can be applied on a personal level for everyone
For
towards
just
the
that
application.
purpose.
Yes,
Absolutely.
spiritual principles for you know, practical the things that we have to deal with on an everyday basis in our lives. Yes. And with that being said, I
With
have the
that
wrong
being
song here.
said,
Yes.
with that being said, I'd like to share with you something that I've shared practically every week on this with this group, and that is, if you happen to be one of those people on this planet who is loved, you are truly, 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 did I say truly?
Yes, you did.
Truly blessed. The one thing that you can do to make sure that everyone you know and your world in general is blessed, is that you can take that love and you can share it with the planet. You can share it with the world. It's not going to cost you anything. And I guarantee you that your world will be improved if you just do that. It's so simple, so smart, so easy. And don't all of us want that? Don't we want a better world? So I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to ask you, I'm going to command you to share the love. Please. Thank you for joining us.
We're going to have to do this short.
It's okay.
Let your be world embracing. Let your vision embracing. Let your vision world embracing. Oh, be world embracing. Let your vision the world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Oh, watch over yourselves. The evil one is lying in wait, ready to entrap you. Gird yourselves against his wicked devices, and led by the light of the name of the all-seeing God, make your escape from the darkness that surroundeth you. Let your vision be world embracing, unconfined to your own self. These are the words of Baha'u'llah. Be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Ooh. Have a good week, folks. Take care.
Care.
See you here
Allahu
next
Akbar.
week. Allahu Akbar. Sing that song while you're at it.